No matter how good your ideas are, everything's going to fall apart if your characters suck. In this video, I'll give you a full walkthrough on how to create characters from start to finish. So the first thing you're going to want to do when you are creating a character is you're going to want to start writing down every little idea you can think of, even if they're incoherent and disconnected seemingly. Just take notes of everything you can. And the more notes you have, the more thoughts you got written down, the more fleshed out it will become, and the character will begin to reveal themselves to you. Now, sometimes they'll end up splitting into two characters and whatnot. That's okay. Other times you end up getting one character, which is what you're looking for in this case. So just make note of everything. And if you end up with extra, you end up with extra. That's good. That means you're doing a bit of extra work ahead of time. Even if there are some notes that you're on the fence about and you're not sure if you want to have for this character, just write it down. You can decide not to use it, or you can decide to repurpose it later. It's better to have too much than to forget even one really good idea. So after you got your notes, you're going to want to open a new document, and that's where you're going to organize your thoughts. You're going to start with one line about who the character is and what they're like. You're going to want to keep this first sentence pretty general and be a bit of a broad overview of them, because we're going more in depth with the following lines and paragraphs. Next, you're going to want to give 2 to 3 major points about things that have happened in your character's life. These are big defining moments for them that have shaped who they are as a person, and maybe their beliefs about the world or their moral code, those kind of things. Each point should be a couple of sentences. In the end, you're going to want this character rundown to be like 2/3 of a page approximately. You don't want to go too crazy with it. You want to have it small enough that you can use it as a cheat sheet. And then you can also have some more in-depth stuff later on. That's okay too. After you got your 2 to 3 points, you're going to start another paragraph, or at least, give yourself some space, keep it separate so it's clean looking and you can consult just pieces of your sheet. And you're going to want to write who they are right now, what they do, and in particular, kind of through a lens of how those things have affected them. If it ends up being a single line or like 2 lines, that's okay too. There's no hard rules with this. You're going to feel it out. Your protagonist and your most important supporting characters, even multiple protagonists, if you're ending up doing some kind of sci-fi or fantasy that's got multiple POVs, they're the ones that are going to be like 2/3 to 3/4 of a page. When it comes to your more important secondary characters, they could just flat out have 1 paragraph. Now, after your points are written down and you've gone through their whole life and you've caught up to the modern day, this is the most important thing you can probably do with your character. You're going to want to give them a want and a need. Now, those sound pretty similar, pretty entwined, and that is fair to say. But there are some key differences between them. What somebody wants is a more surface level thing, and it is a lot more basic, right? Shallow, one could say, superficial. The need is in line with the want, and it's sort of the deeper thing that fuels their conscious want. Now, their want and their need should be shaped by and fueled by their backstory and the kind of person they have become because of that backstory. You're going to want to write their want as just 1 line, and then their need as just a second line. So 1, one. So a few examples of a want are things like money, power, peace, achieving a certain goal, status, and it turns out I've covered everything with that achieving a certain goal part. There's nothing I can think of that wouldn't be related to achieving a goal. Even the other things I've mentioned are all achieving a goal. Now, that need is deeper and more personal. And as we said before, is informed by what their want is. Somebody who wants money is more likely to need to feel a certain amount of stability or comfort. That's what they're going for. Somebody who wants power may have not been able to help somebody that they needed to at some point and might still suffer from that. They might also, if they want power, have been made to feel powerless and they don't want to be experiencing that ever again. And a person who wants a specific goal typically actually needs what they subconsciously think that goal represents. For example, a person who wants success might be after it because they have felt like a failure, and what they need is to actually accept themselves and who they are. After all that's done, you can also add in some extra things like a struggle or two, things that are problems they have, vices, certain stuff that has come about because of their experiences, stuff that they may or may not want to change, but they will inform who they are and some of the challenges they face in the story. Another bonus you can do is add a couple of quotes, maybe 1 to 3, just to keep a feel for who your character is. So if you're away from writing for a bit, and one of the most important parts of writing is consistently, you should try to avoid that as much as possible. It's going to happen though. But you can add these quotes, and then if you're away from your project for a bit, now you're able to consult them and you are able to get back in the feel of what your character's like. You get back in their head, and then it would make you have an easier time when it comes to getting back into the swing of it. And just like that, you're done. It should be about a half page to 3/4 of a page for your most important characters, just like we said before, and then it descends from there in order of importance. You can just do 3 to 5 characters for your story like that, and the less relevant they become, the shorter their little character entry is. So make sure to try this for your characters and leave a comment down below and let me know what to cover next.